Then we had the Lucha Express, Jungle Boy and Dino against Road Warrior and Balding Buck.
Jurassic Express.
Lucha Express, Jurassic Express. Here, let me change that. Yeah, there we go. I've changed that now. That's perfect. All right. The little dwarf, I noticed, is on a crutch and in a walking boot at ringside. When did he get hurt? When will he get the picture, more importantly?
I was told that he hurt his ankle in a match with Jake Hager, which I didn't see. I guess it was on their dark show or whatever.
Probably when somebody fucking speared him like a lawn dart at something or fucking... He's the one, remember 2 years ago, the way he came to public consciousness was by breaking his fucking leg by doing a Canadian destroyer off a goddamn bar in a bar. Broke his leg clean in half. This kid's going to be a cripple by the time he's fucking 30, and I can't wait, because then we won't have to watch him wrestle anymore, because he apparently ain't going to get the fucking picture. You can't be a little goddamn mutant of 116 pounds, a fishy white, pale, disgusting piece of humanity, and be thrown around by these giant men without killing yourself, you idiot, and you make the business look bad at the same time. Did you see at the start, Dino Douche and the Bucks played duck and dodge and slap and tickle for this extended sequence? At one point in the tumbling routine, Dino Douche actually put his hand out to one of the Bucks' back to like move up a foot so that when you vault your brother, I can catch him right in the middle of God and everybody. Did you see that?
Yeah.
What was it? They were just, it was endless contrived nonsense. Of course, by the way, have we mentioned both babyface teams, although the Bucks are trying to be heels. They're so super serial because their feelings have been hurt, and the announcers were trying to talk about the aggression, quote, the aggression and how they're snapping of the Bucks. The announcers are trying to make these children somehow intimidating or like they've lost control of themselves. Like, what would happen if they did lose control? What would happen if little Johnny did lose control and decided he wanted an extra strawberry parfait out of the refrigerator? I'll tell you what would happen. He's 5 years old, so I'd spank him and sit him in the corner. You can't make these fucking little pricks intimidating. Although Road Warrior Buck and Old Jungle Boy had to take endless bumps on the concrete for no reason, just to do it. And Jungle Boy could be a star, but every time he gets in the ring with the Bucks or Olivier or these idiots that can't work, he learns more bad habits that he will never be able to break. They are poisoning that fucking well right there. I mean, he's already taken the fucking lucha hand palm shoot offs into the ropes and just all the sloppy bullshit. But this match, it was not only disjointed and had no flow and made no sense, because that's usual, but it was dreary also. It was just dreary. The Bucks trying to be, like I said, the super serial quasi heels, but they're not really. And it would never end. Then Dino Douche came in like a cow on ice again. Remember how I loved the look and the gimmick and just him standing there when we first saw him? Every single time I see him, now that he has no understanding of how to work like a big man. And it's not just flat-footed, you idiot, you simpleton. It's not just being flat-footed and working like King Kong Bundy. It's picking your spots and making your shit memorable. He can do all kinds of stuff, but he does it constantly. And some of it's awkward and most of it's out of place. And with a concentration on just backflipping off everything, even when he has to turn his back on his opponent for no reason, he's not smart enough to realize when you're that physically gifted, but you also have that size, that you learn to work a style where you do your big man stuff at the start, and if they need to get you down, then they heel you down, and you somehow sell, and when you make your comeback, then you pull out all the not even all the flips. You pull out a flip, or a couple flips. Build to the finish. He's just awkward and sloppy, and he looks like a fucking moose having a baby every time he gets in the ring. And at one point, old Road Warrior Buck was going toe-to-toe with him, even though he's a foot and a half bigger and 100 pounds heavier. And Dino Douche was bent over, and old Road Warrior Buck was just slapping his back over and over like a pissed-off schoolgirl. And then they just kept tagging in and out, back and forth. There was no sets of heat. There were no real comebacks. There were just different people on offense doing shit. Road Warrior Buck super kicked the dwarf. Please, somebody just get rid of him. I will start a fucking fund to send him to school to teach him something else to do. Then Dino Douche and Jungle Boy just jumped into some fucking Bob Fosse choreography. And Dino Douche dove right out into the crowd, landed on some fucking women, people. I don't know what the fuck. He was wiped out. And the Bucks hit 17 finishes on Jungle Boy. And by the time they were finished, here's the thing. Once remember, we said intent versus stupidity one time before with the Young Bucks when they slipped. Goddamn, what team did they slip over? And they did it in such a way that it looked like a complete fluke. Was it Dino Douche and Jungle Boy?
Was it Private Party?
It was Private Party. They put Private Party over in such a way that it was a complete fluke and couldn't ever happen again, rather than really putting them over. But then they could say, well, we put them over. And some people bought it. And I wondered, was it they're just that ignorant or they did that on purpose? And I had people say they did it on purpose. Well, in this case, they hit Jungle Boy with their knee and their thing and their boom and their boom. And they beat him so flat, it buried him deeper than Jimmy Hoffa. And I'm sure they told him, well, we're going to hit you with 4 finishes. That'll show how strong you are. No, if Dino Douche had or Dino Douche, I'm sorry, I know you get on me about that, had just splattered everybody out on the fucking floor and they'd have goddamn hit one double team on Jungle Boy, it would have given him a little bit of an out because his fucking partner overshot the thing and crashed out there and holy shit, what the fuck, he's 1 against 2, boom, finish, done. But you keep him in the ring and hit him with something and hit him with something else and hit him with something else. I will hit him with another thing. Now we'll pin him. Hey, you just beat him fucking flat. I refuse to believe it's complete ignorance. I think they're doing it on purpose. Wrestling by kids for kids was my tagline I came up with it for this match. What'd you think?
I actually thought it was okay.
What?
Listen, hear me out. If you could accept that the Young Bucks are going to have contrived, choreographed matches, and you can realize that's what it is, I was able to enjoy it a little bit for a couple of reasons. One, it followed one of the worst things I've ever seen on a wrestling show. And this is going to be a theme. This is going to be a theme throughout the pay-per-view, actually. What happens before the match affects how you perceive the next match. Also, I actually, and you and I disagree on this, I like the Bucks playing heel. They're natural heels. I don't even know why they're baby faces. They're so unlikable.
That's what they do is play heel, though.
I know, but I believe it. I believe they really are those douchebags they were portraying during that match. I think the Bucks should be straight up heels. I know AEW doesn't want heels or baby faces. Everyone's supposed to be like in the Brandy Road zone where week by week you're whatever you feel like being that week. But I think the Bucks as heels are a lot more credible than the Bucks as baby faces. I hate the way they book Jungle Boy. And he's another one of those guys, what you just said about Private Party. We heard that Jungle Boy when he was doing the stuff with Jericho, like at the beginning of the year, I think. You know, they're going to elevate Jungle Boy. He's one of the guys they see as the future. One day it'll be him and MJF.
And now Jericho's swimming in a vat of orange juice with a fucking kid from the Outlaws that used to dress up in pajamas and play wrestler and still plays wrestler. And Jungle Boy's getting beat by the executive vice presidents.
The last few months have been a waste of Jungle Boy. The more you see, at least I'm going to speak for myself, not for everyone else. The more I see of Luchasaurus, the less I need to see Luchasaurus anymore. I thought the Bucks were good though here. Again, taking out, you have to, there's a curve. You have to accept there will be contrived wrestling action taking place. But with that said, them being heels as opposed to them being babyface, I thought was pretty good. And several matches later, when someone said, what do you think of the show? I actually said at that point, this was the best thing on the show. That's not saying it's the best thing ever.
Well, it is.
But
as I told fucking Flair that morning after the Clash. What Clash was it? I can't even remember now. It was one in the dark days of 1990. Flair and Luger was the main event. He said, what'd you think? I said, you stole the show, Rick, but it was petty theft. But anyway, if this was the best thing on the show, we see where the rest of the show is.
Up to a certain point. And again, I will say, and I think we have to talk more about the commentators later on as well as the crowd, but at least at this point in the show, whatever crowd was there was still making noise.
Well,
and that helped.
I noticed.
Obviously.
I noticed later on, and I thought it was kind of this way through the show. I didn't notice a drop, but I said, wait a minute. They have fans back and they have less crowd noise. Was that a thing that more than me noticed?
Yeah, well, apparently there's a few things at play here. One, AEW does a really bad job of miking their crowds. They did that during the period of time where they had fans there. Remember, I used to always say, well, the crowd was dead, and then I'd hear from people that were there like, oh, no, the fans are actually reacting to the stuff. I'm like, oh,
well, I went through that with Ring of Honor. For whatever reason, audio's the hardest part.
But from what I've been told, when the show began, it was, well, with the heat index, 100 degrees.
Oh, Jesus.
And humid. And it got a little better as the show went on, but people were beat down. They were out.
But wait a minute. They went 4 hours?
No, that's their stupidity. I can't justify.
Well, that's nothing. No, wait a minute. With the pre-show is 5 hours. So you mean to tell me, because this weekend was the best weather we've had here in months. You mean to tell me it was still 100 degrees and humid in Florida? Well, I guess it would have been.
Yeah.
And they did an hour pre-show and a 4-hour fucking pay-per-view that seemed like it was 16 days. No wonder the people were, yeah.
I think between the heat and the Matt Hardy incident, there were things that took the crowd that was there out of it.
Yeah.
And add on top of that, they don't know how to mic their crowd. Other than when they're singing Jericho's song. Somehow then everyone is loud and clear. But any other point in the show, you can't, well, there are various points you can't hear the crowd at all.